Hey everyone, Paul Carl here. Today I'm doing a website review on JF Real Estate's website, and I picked JF Real Estate because they have Matt Funicello, if I'm not butchering his last name. Sorry, Matt. He's a member of the Syracuse Business Connections, which is a networking group here in Syracuse that meets at Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. at Hummel's Office Plus. And I wanted to go through the group and do a review of everybody's website. So I'm going to start with JF Real Estate. And right off the bat, the first thing I want to say about the site is I think this header is a lot of wasted space. It takes up the entire page just about, but doesn't tell me to do anything. And I think it's really important to have some kind of call to action on your header to tell people what their next step is. And whether it's, say, view our new property and have like your brand new property listed there, or contact an agent for whatever reason. I think those type of calls to actions are really important to catch right off the bat, especially for people who are on mobile and maybe aren't patient enough to like search through for stuff. So the other thing, this is kind of nitpicky, but if you look at the homepage here with this background on it, it kind of overlaps with the shadow and it's not quite centered around home, and that just kind of bothers me a little bit for some reason. So I think I like that it turns blue so you know you're on that page. But maybe if we just get rid of the background, it just looks a little bit cleaner. Following that, I also think this button, Contact Agent, I think contacting an agent is probably the most important thing that you want your visitors to do. So I would recommend making this orange, because the best color for a call to action is the one that's in direct contrast to the rest of the color scheme of the website. So with this background here, you got a very blue background, blue logo, blue links. If you made this orange, like this, and I would say even maybe like fill in actually I'll make the color of this white, and if we fill the background and make that orange, like you can't miss seeing this button here now if you turned it orange. And I think that would help you get more people to actually click that. It'd be interesting to see the analytics like before and after. Another little nitpicky thing is the fave icon here. You have the default one for your theme, and your JF Real Estate is like a nice square, so that would fit. That would look really good as a fave icon. Maybe just the JF and drop off Real Estate for that. Sorry, my notes keep falling off, so I got them stuck to the laptop here. The other thing, these call to actions, there's no call to actions here. They're just office properties, and people have to kind of guess that they're supposed to click it to see more, rather than explicitly telling people view available properties or whatever. I think that might be a mistake. This page here, this is probably the worst thing on the site, just because it's cool that they can see the properties here, but the problem is when I hit next or when I hit another page, it appends this I forget the term, but it appends this variable to the URL so that it knows to go to page 2, but then it refreshes the page when that gets appended, so you have to scroll all the way back down to see the second page, which is pretty bad for user experience. Also, all your phone numbers and your emails are clickable, so it will auto-populate into whatever app your customers are using, so they can don't have to type the number out or copy and paste it or whatever. That's true for like every link I've seen except for the address here. You can make this a link so that when people click on that link, it will automatically populate it into their GPS, or if they click on it from their browser, it will take them straight to the directions page, so that way you don't have to copy and paste, open a new tab, do all those other little tiny steps. And lastly, on the homepage here, you got 2018 still. What you can do to never have to worry about this again is there's a little piece of PHP code. If you just Googled like PHP code for year or PHP code for copyright, you'll see it. You can just copy and paste it into a child theme, so updating the theme doesn't break it. But then that'll just update when 2020 rolls around. It'll automatically change to 2020. That way you just don't have to worry about it. So my next step in this review here, I took a look at what your WordPress theme is. This is a tool called What WordPress Theme Is That? And what it does is it shows if it's a WordPress theme that's available on the marketplace somewhere, it will find it, but using your theme's footprints, and then tell you what it is, give you the link to it and all that good stuff. So I can kind of see what plugins you're using through this. And when I found this, I decided to go take a look at some of their demos. And I found this, which I think this would be a much better way to use your homepage's real estate, for pun intended. That was horrible. I should edit that out. But anyway, you can put your calls to actions here, feature your new listings, all that good stuff that you want people to know about. You can put that in this space, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a slider. It could just be a fixed image or like a single slide, so that way you call attention to exactly what you want your visitors to do. And the other thing here is you have this ability to search through properties. Since users are coming to your site to try to find a property to rent, having these tools to make it easier for them to find, rather than sorting through, 63, I think? Rather than sorting through 63 of these different properties, hoping they find the right one for themselves, this allows them to do something that they're more familiar with. Like if they ever played around on Zillow or whatever, they're used to being able to search for things and by categories and whatnot. So having something like this, I think, would be really good. And it's built into your theme, so I don't see a reason not to use it. And for the latest listings, using this feature from the theme rather than this other one here, I think would be really good, because then they can actually scroll through and it's not refreshing the page. So this category here and this category here are also really good. And I want to go back a little bit. You want to have a goal for your website, and you want to think of who your perfect user is, who your ideal customer is, and what they're trying to accomplish. And up here, you can help them accomplish that. You can tell them what you do, and that's great. And you can use something like this to show off your features, to provide a little bit more credibility, showing the billings that you have. But down here gives you, using a tool like this, you guys currently have it, but it doesn't say anything. It doesn't differentiate you from any other brokerage company. So if I didn't know anything about you guys or any other brokerage companies, this is just a waste, because it doesn't differentiate you at all. If you take advantage of being able to add some text under here and maybe have another call to action, you could use that to make yourself stand out from all the other brokers. And one of the ways that I think you could do this is by reading every review you could possibly read about any brokerage company, positive, negative, whatever, whether they're in Syracuse or anywhere else, and look for a common theme. In my blog post, How I Wrote a Sentence Worth $455,000, I kind of detail that a little bit more. And what I'm getting at is, if you're reading every landlord review and you find out that maybe they complain the most about not being able to get in touch with their landlord when they need it, you could use that as your competitive advantage and say, we respond to calls within an hour 99% of the time, or some other kind of specific data-driven point like that. And perhaps, since most customers are going to have a lot of the same characteristics, with a call to action like that, if somebody's looking for a new office because he's pissed at his landlord because he won't return his phone calls, and then they come here and see that you return your phone calls within an hour, that's a really strong motivator to get them to contact you, or that might be something that makes your company stand out to them compared to others. And I would recommend going through reviews and talking to your customers and seeing what they care about most, what makes them the happiest, and what pisses them off the most, so that you can position yourself as somebody who does the things that customers love and who doesn't do the things that they hate. And that will help establish some differentiation and some trust. Same thing with testimonials. This is another, just builds more trust and authority for your company. And same thing with partners. I know you guys have a couple partners on there, but maybe you could think about some other partners to add, or maybe have like our customers and put some big brands there. Like I assume you guys probably have some like big recognizable brands as tenants that you could probably talk to about putting in here, just to build more trust. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that. I also think that there is some opportunity with the services page here. Each of these sections could become their own page. This could be a good way to have like all your services maybe listed out or put in a grid and give like a little summary of what each one is. But if you had a drop down and then had a dedicated page for brokerage services or tenant representation services, then you could really go into detail about what those services entail, who it's for, write in a way that will compel them to want to get in touch with you. So that way, if somebody's looking for tenant representation, and if you've done that well, maybe did a little SEO work, and your site pops up for that, you can have essentially a sales page for your tenant representation services, rather than them coming to a homepage and not seeing what they're looking for, if they were to just like come from a business card or something. One last thing I wanted to mention was that when I did look at the demo here for their listings, let's just do office for sale. They have a lot of details that you can fill in a really aesthetically pleasing way. So like all the features, appliances, the address map, neighborhood stuff, all these details I think are really good, and I think it's a missed opportunity to not use those details here. And I understand that maybe a lot of them are like your vanilla box type properties where you're going to build it out for the customer. If that's the case, I would say maybe include that in the description, and you could also do like photos of the listing and like a video of the listing. I know that years ago, like 5 years ago, I went to Pittsburgh with some other guys, and we were doing a website for an apartment complex specifically, and we had like the full camera crew. We were doing videos. We made this like cool virtual tour thing, all these floor plans. So when somebody came to the site and was looking at a property, not only could they watch a video of it being explained to them, but they could also look at the floor plans and kind of figure out where they're going to put their furniture, if everything's going to fit. They could do the virtual tour if they wanted to like look around themselves, and like, even some details were even like in the virtual tour, you see the kitchen with the cabinets closed, but you can see what it looks like when the cabinets are opened. So I think adding all that information is really important for getting someone excited to pick up the phone and call you. It could also help you qualify your leads, because if you give them a ton of information, and let's say in the video tour they realize, oh, this looked good, but now I'm realizing, the way this wall is, or this space is actually too small now that I see it. Like those kinds of potential leads could disqualify themselves from wasting your time on a tour or whatever, if they're able to disqualify themselves before they go there. Yeah, I think that kind of covers all my thoughts. Actually, there was one more. On this example, this one's a bad one, but they have, where is it? The fixed menu. If you scroll through your site, your menu disappears, and it's kind of cool. It comes up if you're like scrolling up trying to find something. But I think when people are like stationary on your site, it's nice to have that call to action following them around. And what this version does is it makes this top bar here sticky, so that when you're here, you could have this say like contact salesperson, have like a nice big orange button here, have an email and phone number here, so that way no matter where they are on the site, they have a call to action in front of them. So if I'm here and I'm like, yep, these are the guys, they respond to phone calls within an hour, all right, I'll call them. They can just click here. They don't have to suddenly go, okay, well, where's the phone number, and scroll around. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I hope that is helpful to you, and let me know what you think. Alright, so to close out this video, if you want me to do a review of your video, I'll put you on my list. Feel free to come to my site and contact me. I also have the blog post that I mentioned. The link will be in the description, but on my site, on the homepage, it's pinned as a feature. So you got the How I Wrote Sentence Worth $455,000. And then this is my notes on competitive advantages from this book here, Creating Competitive Advantages by Jenny L. Smith. I was unbelievably lucky to have read this book like right at the beginning of my career, and it's one of the most important marketing books I've read, so I highly recommend this. I'll put a link to this in the description too. I also offer the free 1-hour consultations. You can just contact me, leave a comment or whatever, and we can set one up. And if you're following, I did a blog post on the 11 catering marketing ideas. I did a video on that. It's an SEO case study, so I've got that live if you're interested in seeing a little bit behind the scenes how I'm creating content. And we'll see, hopefully Google will crawl my website again soon, and we'll see where that ends up in the search. rankings. Thanks for watching.